I want to thank the Chamber for hosting this again today, and certainly our sponsors. Bill, would you and your staff stand up so people can recognize the hard work that you've put into this? We appreciate it very much. I also want to acknowledge members of the Renton City Council who are here with us today. Council President Rich Zwicker. Randy Corman. Marcie Palmer. Don Person. Ed Prince. And Greg Taylor. And Terry Breyer has been excused from attending today because she's working on our Renton Rotary Caper auction. So that's a bona fide excuse. I also want to recognize a very special person who spent 12 years on the Renton City Council and is very much a part of the city family. That's Mr. King Parker. Over the past few years, we've maneuvered this city through some very challenging times. And I want to thank each of our council members for their support and partnership in addressing the needs of this community. And during these difficult times, Renton has been blessed to have excellent support from all our representatives in Olympia. So thanks, Bob, Steve, and Marcie. And it's been great, the support you provided this city for so many years. We really appreciate it, especially during these tough times. And I want to especially thank Senator Margarita Prentice, who isn't here today, for all her years of support for this community. I'm sure you've all heard that Margarita does not plan to run for re-election next year. And after serving for 23 years in the legislature, she's going to face a well-deserved retirement. And so we wish her all the best in her future endeavors. I know you hear this frequently, but I think it's worth repeating. Renton has earned a reputation as a leading city in this region, and much of this is due to the unique partnerships that we have with the Chamber, the Renton School District, Renton Technical College, and Valley Medical Center. Together we have accomplished a lot, and our city has truly become a very special community. I would like our partners to please stand to be recognized. Dr. Mary Alice Huschel from the Superintendent of the Renton School District. I don't have a Rich Rudman here today, but Valley Medical Center has been a very strong partner, so everybody from Valley, thank you very much. President of Renton Technical College, Mr. Steve Hansen. And last but certainly not least, Bill Taylor, President of the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you all for being here today. While the last 4 years has been difficult, the city has weathered them well. We've had challenges, but despite these challenges, our community continues to grow and thrive. Our future is bright, our foundation is strong, and I believe economic tides are finally beginning to turn. Last year, I promised to continue to build on our partnership with the Boeing Company and work together with other elected officials to advance the aerospace industry in Renton and King County. We kept that promise. As Jesse mentioned, last November, the Boeing Company announced its landmark decision to build the 737 MAX here in Renton. This was a tremendous amount of news for this city and for the entire state. The decision will ensure that for years to come, thousands of workers are going to remain on the job here in Renton, which we all know is the best place in the world to produce commercial airplanes. I understand Boeing plans to hire between 600 and 800 people in Renton this year and another equal amount possibly next year. And they already have over 1,000 orders for the 737 MAX to complement the 2,300 orders of the 737 next generation that's in the backlog. So we're going to be building airplanes here for a while. As part of the statewide Washington Aerospace Partnership and the King County Aerospace Alliance, we are actively working to support the growth and stability of the aerospace industry. We continue to work with our elected officials and in Olympia, and they're working, our representatives are here today, they're working very hard to secure a $2.5 million appropriation that will allow us to establish the Renton Aerospace Training Center at the municipal airport. This will allow Renton Technical College to expand the capacity of its aerospace training and through a 12-week course provide workers with the skills they need to obtain jobs in the aerospace industry. So this is a big deal for us. And as Jesse already mentioned, the governor has recruited Alex Peach to serve as director of the governor's office of aerospace. Alex has been a valued member of our team for the past 11 years and has played a major role in the development of this city. So please join me in giving Alex a big round of applause. Alex, you got to stand up. Everybody in the room will be able to see you. There you go. It's important to note that Boeing is not the only major employer in town to be creating more jobs. PACCAR's Kenworth Truck Division is back to well above its pre-recession employment levels, where production had dropped to an average of 2 trucks per day. Since June of 2010, they have hired 540 people and are once again up to producing 18 trucks per day, which is amazing. Yeah. Overall, Renton's economy is diversified and it's growing. The number of jobs in the city increased by 9% between 2010 and 2011. And it's important to note that it's not just at Boeing. We had about 170 more businesses registered in our city by the end of last year than we did the year before. One interesting statistic, too, that I want to share with you is that since the start of the recession, we have actually seen a 2% overall increase in total jobs. So Renton actually gained jobs through the recent recession. Despite that, we're not saying that the recession was a good thing. More good news in Renton is that we're continuing to attract new businesses. One new global company that recently moved here is Sealed Air. They are the inventors of bubble wrap. And, you know, bubble wrap is important, and we're glad that they're making it here. And they employ 65 people, and they have plans to employ quite a few more. So it's very good news for our city. Other signs that the economy is improving is the investment being made by some of our local companies. Spring Hill Suites by Marriott and the Town Place Suites will be investing $2 million to remodel their hotels beginning this month. And in recent months, Brad Brotherton at Brotherton Cadillac completed a $1 million remodel of his facility, and Good Chevrolet invested $1.1 million in a remodel of their downtown stores. So investments are being made. And, you know, at the same time, great things are happening in our downtown. Despite these challenging times, we promised to continue our commitment to help revitalize the downtown core. We kept that promise. A number of new restaurants and shops have opened, and you will soon see new construction on a beautiful state-of-the-art library in the heart of the district that will help create a vibrant, pedestrian-oriented environment necessary to support downtown businesses. Another bit of great news that shows that there's some positive change taking place in Renton is the Chamber's purchase of the Spirit of Washington Depot, which is just great. It's great for the Chamber. It's great for our city. This will clearly be a catalyst for more revitalization and investment in the downtown core, and I think it's a great move for the Chamber, and we're really excited to watch for their grand opening. And I want to take just a moment to recognize John Galuzzo. He was the former chairman of the board of the Chamber, and John has worked relentlessly to put this very complicated sale together. John, stand up. That was a great job because people have said you cannot move the railroad, and you did a great job. And, of course, we have the landing. It always seems to be busy at the landing. If you go down there, it doesn't matter what day of the week, what time of the day, there's always stuff going on. It's busy there, even though we don't have a Trader Joe's. Okay. And I want to just go ahead and cut to the chase. There is no Trader Joe's on the immediate horizon that we're aware of. But despite all of that, the stores and the restaurants at the Landing are continuing to report impressive growth. Several new tenants opened this past year, including Dick's Sporting Goods, University Bookstore, Famous Footwear, Panera Bread, and a number of restaurants and small stores. And we're aware of a number of new companies that plan to sign leases this year. So things are going very well at the Landing. We've also seen improvements occurring in other parts of the city. For years, as you know, the city has promised to help revitalize the Sunset Highlands community. We are finally fulfilling this promise. Besides the millions of dollars spent by local businesses, including Duke Tran at the Tea Palace, the Safeway remodeling, the new grocery outlet that's up on Sunset, and the construction of the 217-unit Harrington Square apartment complex, plans are underway for a beautiful brand new library, and it's going to be built in conjunction with another 112-unit apartment complex, which is absolutely going to beautify the gateway to the Sunset Highlands community. And we have more good news about the Sunset area. Last year, we broke ground on the Glenwood Townhomes, which is a new 8-unit housing development, which is it's actually the beginning of creating a more attractive and vibrant community for local residents and businesses. We believe the project will provide a stimulus for other private and public development. So a lot of good things are happening in our city. And while I don't want to dampen all the positive news, we have to have a little bit of reality. And I do need to emphasize that I think tough times are still ahead of us, especially for local government. And Will Ibershoff from the city of Duval and Suzette Cook from the city of Kent will probably concur with me. We expect it to be financially challenging for us for at least the next 2 or 3 years. When I met with you last year, I promised that the city was committed to focus on innovation, efficiency, and improved productivity despite our budget challenges. And once again, we kept that promise. We reduced staffing levels and we made major cuts to our budget, despite significant growth in our population. We reorganized and consolidated some of our divisions. Every department made budget cuts, and our employees continue to embrace our commitment to provide quality customer service. We chose to act quickly to reduce expenses and made other choices that helped us address our budget crisis during that period of time. The city you see today is more refined. It is leaner and it is stronger. We have a committed workforce prepared to meet the challenges of the future. I would like to, we have some staff members here in the audience. I'd like them all to please stand up and just be recognized for the great work they've been doing. While these strategies have helped us to manage until now, we continue to operate with a structural revenue shortfall, and this is unlikely to change anytime soon. During the boom years before the recession, we were able to ride the bullish economy, and a considerable percentage of our services, including police, fire, street repairs, parks, were all funded from revenues from new construction and sales tax revenues. In addition to funding basic services for the public, we were able to build a new pool for our citizens, purchase land for parks, and pay for ongoing infrastructure needs. But with significant declines in sales tax revenues, we have become much more reliant on property tax just to maintain city services, which you know is shrinking due to the property devaluation. So Lloyd, you got to do something about that. I'm not suggesting that you're our structural problem, but there's a little bit of a revenue thing. I keep asking Lloyd to come in with a wheelbarrow of money. He shows up, but I haven't seen the wheelbarrow of money yet. But obviously, this challenge that we have is results in a continued erosion of our tax base, and the need for us to continually reassess our service priorities and capabilities. It forces us to focus revenues on essential services while challenging us in a big way to find ways to fund ongoing maintenance and our infrastructure needs. Sustaining the quality of our city must be our priority. By focusing on this goal, we can continue the process of reorganizing the way we do business. Most major companies are reinventing themselves in order to survive and thrive. We must do the same. Despite a 15% reduction in personnel and millions of dollars from our operating budget over the past several years, finding new ways to provide customers with quality service has continued to be our top priority. In the months ahead, we'll continue stretching taxpayers' dollars further, but the ability to maintain and grow the quality of life in our city it's absolutely going to require partnering with our schools, the business community, and our citizens. Mergers, alliances, partnerships, and collaboration have become a way of business today. Locally, we saw the successful alliance of Valley Medical and the UW Medicine, and that's going to result in improving service to the public at a more cost-effective way. As a city, it's critical that we partner with our citizens and our stakeholders in finding ways of serving the needs of this community. Our dog park is a great example. Another one is that we're working on currently is a collaboration between the Renton School District, the city, local service organizations, and the business community in constructing an inclusive children's playground that will serve the entire community, including children with special needs. And this is something we could not do without this collaboration. Our long-term ability to maintain Renton's quality parks and trails, invest in our transportation infrastructure, and to meet the need for new public amenities will require additional resources. We will need to explore some taxing options with our citizens, and most other cities and counties have already done this. We have begun the budget process for 2013 and will soon engage our citizens and our business leaders to help us through this process. So you may not have known it, but yesterday was the first day of spring, and yet it feels like winter. We're pretty fortunate here that our winter this past year has been relatively calm in comparison to other parts of the country. But it doesn't take much snow and ice to create havoc in this region at all. So we had several days of heavy snowfall followed by an ice storm, 2 windstorms, and all of this did impact our region. And I think Puget Sound Energy had a little bit of a challenge during that time, Phil. Yeah. It resulted in icy streets, road closures, multiple accidents, downed trees, and major power outages throughout the region. Cities literally came to a standstill. But our staff, working around the clock, did an outstanding job of keeping our main roadways open, removing fallen trees and debris, keeping shelters open, and offering emergency assistance where needed. And we employed every means available to us to communicate with our community through high-tech communications where we effectively used our website and Facebook and Twitter, to displaying time-tested posters in multiple languages on our neighborhood information kiosks located at our schools. This event tested our emergency preparedness, and our staff did an excellent job. At this time, I'd like to spend just a few minutes on public safety. 5 years ago, I maintained that keeping our communities safe was our top priority, and that we would take proactive steps to find a way to reduce crime and to improve the sense of safety throughout our city. We have made significant progress. Today, according to the latest crime statistics, we are one of the safest cities in King County. Crime rate has dropped. That's great. The crime rate here has dropped for the 6th consecutive year and is over 30% lower than it was in 2007. However, as our chief likes to remind us, statistics don't always tell the whole story, and we're not going to take all the credit for the crime reduction, because then you have to take the credit when it goes up. So we don't want to do that. But I'm going to tell you, I'm totally know that the efforts of our police officers and their support staff have made a significant difference. We have created an interdepartmental culture at City Hall of finding solutions to issues that impact our community. Most of you remember when an elderly woman was tragically killed when she was hit by a bicycle on the Cedar River Trail. Members of our police, parks, recreation, public works, city attorney, and our communication staffs came together to explore solutions that resulted in a comprehensive trail safety initiative. Today, we have reduced speed limits, added striping, signage, educational brochures, and we've created a volunteer park rangers program in our parks and trails to help make sure that it is safer for everyone to use. When we noticed that the same criminal offenders were engaging in unlawful behavior in our parks and going from one park to another, we passed an ordinance that allows police officers to ban a person from all of our parks for violating any of the rules. By banning these offenders, we're keeping our promise to ensure that residents have a better, safer park system than ever before, and it's working. In some of our areas, including a few properties in North Renton, our police officers have responded to calls for service to the same addresses for many years, with ongoing criminal activity that dramatically impacts the sense of safety for those people that are living in those neighborhoods. We met with members of these people, of these neighborhoods, and promised to pursue sustainable solutions to these ongoing impacts. As part of the commitment, the City Council passed another ordinance that provides us with a tool to hold nuisance property owners civilly and even criminally responsible for continuing to allow illegal activity to take place on their property. And we actively collaborate with the Liquor Control Board to identify and target drinking establishments that are the magnets for crime and violence. We will soon be filing lawsuits in Superior Court against several nuisance property owners. We've emphasized crime reduction and safety in our downtown and in the transit center by increasing police patrols and expanding video surveillance. And the City Council passed an ordinance that allows officers to ban people who practice illegal behavior at the transit center, and I believe we're able to ban them from the center for up to a year. We don't have them coming back, so it's working. We utilized our Special Operations Unit to target repeat offenders that are our worst criminals and responsible for much of the crime that occurs in our community. Our officers have been successful at making significant arrests that are resulting in long-term prison sentences. And as you've heard in reports in the newspaper and other venues over the last couple of years, we've had a very successful program with our anti-graffiti campaign. Since we launched the program in 2008, we have reduced incidents of graffiti in our community by 60%. So keeping our city safe is important, and it not only requires an effective police department, but it includes our fire and emergency services. The days of firefighters primarily responding to fires are long gone. Today, our fire department has evolved into a multifaceted public service agency with an ever-changing workload, from emergency medical services to hazardous materials and disaster preparedness. Calls for medical assistance represented 78% of nearly 13,000 calls that our firefighters responded to last year. They also handled 213 hazardous materials calls. In addition to handling emergencies, our firefighters are engaged in helping our public remain healthy and avoid catastrophic emergencies. And included with that is with health care. This past month during February Heart Month, they provided blood pressure and blood sugar screenings to nearly 11,000 people in our city. And they found 18% of the people screened to be at risk of heart disease. So I've always advocated that having a strong commitment to public safety is government's top priority, but I want to emphasize that it's not the only component needed to maintain a high quality of life in our city. As companies look to set up and expand, and people look to relocate and start new families, our community amenities, including beautiful parks, trails, community-sponsored events, and recreation programs, become an important part of the decision. We have been successful in maintaining most of these services despite significant personnel and budget cuts. Our parks, trails, and golf course continue to receive praise from the public. Our world-class recreation program still offers something for everybody, regardless of age or ability. Our unique summer lunch program serves hundreds of children in need, and our housing repair assistance program has helped elderly residents stay in their houses. Our award-winning neighborhood program now has 72 recognized neighborhoods representing thousands of Renton residents. The Farmers Market enjoyed a record attendance last summer with over 4,000 people attending each week. And our festivals and events, from the Seattle International Film Festival to the 4th of July celebration, Renton River Days, Return to Renton Car Show, and Clam Lights at Coulon Park all experienced record crowds this year. These programs and events bring tremendous value to our citizens. They also bring tourists and visitors to our restaurants and stores. They fill hotel rooms, and they provide entertainment for our families while boosting the local economy. So another way to help jumpstart the economy is to invest in the infrastructure of our city. Many of you joined me yesterday at the groundbreaking event for the last phase of the Rainier Avenue South Improvement Project. And it was cold out there, but it was worth doing it. And we appreciate all of the partners at the state and federal level that helped this happen. This $42 million project is one of the largest public works projects that our city has ever undertaken and will enhance the economic vitality to local businesses and to our downtown. The improvements will include more lanes for motorists and transit, improved traffic flow and enhanced safety. And as a gateway to our city, this project will be very pedestrian friendly with wide sidewalks, attractive landscaping, and quality lighting. At the same time, a couple weeks ago, we broke ground on a major improvement project for Southwest 27th and Strander Boulevard to provide quality access to the sounder station for Renton residents. And construction will soon begin on road improvements on Garden Avenue in the area of Fry's Electronics and the Lowe's store. So we have a lot of things going on. In addition to the enhancement that these projects create, they're going to bring much needed construction jobs to boost our local economy. As you know, Renton is a city of distinct neighborhoods with unique character. Last year during my State of the City address, I shared a vision with you of thriving neighborhoods with parks and open spaces where people gather and businesses prosper. We said we would engage our community and together plan the future of our city. We did that, and we did it in a big way. We completed the Parks, Recreation, Open Space, and Natural Resources Plan, the Trails and Bicycle Master Plan, the Shoreline Master Plan, the City Center Plan, the Sunset Area Revitalization Plan, the Renton History Museum Plan, and the Arts and Culture Master Plan. Sounds like a lot of plans, and it is. But what's important for you to know is that a broad base of our community got involved to help define the future direction for our city and neighborhoods so that together we can take our vision from concept to reality. More than 3,000 of our citizens and business leaders participated in these plans. Many of these plans were managed by our Community Services Department, and this is a great time to do a little bit of bragging about this staff. In addition to managing all of the city-owned facilities, the neighborhood program, and senior and human services, the Community Services Department is responsible for our parks, trails, and all of our recreation programs. And I'm really proud to announce that once again, this department will receive national accreditation from the Commission for Accreditation of Parks and Recreation Agencies in Washington, D.C. next week. This recognition is for achieving the gold standard for quality parks and recreation, and Renton is only one of 2 cities in this state to have ever earned this distinction. And at this time, I'd like to ask Terry Agashiyama, who leads this wonderful team, to stand up and be recognized. One of the attributes that makes our community special is the growing diversity of our residents. And we don't need a census to tell us that. Just look around. You see faces with family roots in Africa, Asia, Europe, South America, and North America. You see people representing every age, religion, and sexual orientation. And that's our community. The diversity in our city gives us incredible strength. And instead of just talking about it, We promise to embrace the diversity in our community with understanding and respect, and to take special steps to establish relationships with members of our various ethnic, cultural, and non-English speaking communities. This is an important promise that we kept. We created the Community Liaison Group comprised of members of our diverse communities, and we've been working closely with them to develop these relationships. We have helped the individual communities to be better prepared for emergencies by providing informational workshops and by translating and distributing hundreds of DVDs on emergency preparedness in various languages. Just last month, as part of Renton Heart Month, our firefighters reached out to more than 2,000 people representing each of our large diverse communities: the Sikhs, the Hispanics, Ukrainians, Vietnamese, and African Americans, to conduct blood sugar and blood pressure screenings. This year we'll be exploring a partnership with the Washington State Department of Social and Health Services to help fund internships for some of the limited English-speaking members of our community. Our goal is to help English language learners hone their skills as they gain practical work experiences, while at the same time benefiting businesses and nonprofit groups in our community. So as I mentioned earlier, I believe Renton's future is bright. When describing a city, most municipalities share a lot in common. We all have roads, streetlights, utilities. We have parks and trails, police and fire departments. So you might ask, what is it? What makes Renton different? And I would venture to say that the most unique thing about Renton, the thing that makes us special, are really its people. When I'm describing Renton to others, I like to emphasize that this is a community that truly has a heart and soul. We support our schools, and we do care about our children. Few cities in this region enjoy the powerful sense of community that we have in Renton. I think most of you would agree to that. We have mothers and fathers, grandparents, seniors, and young adults, as well as dedicated business and property owners who genuinely care about our community and actively participate in making it a better place to live and to do business. I really feel honored to be the mayor of a city where residents, business owners, service and religious organizations step up every day to meet the needs of their neighbors and the community. We're a community committed to working together to make Renton the best city in the state. Renton is a special place, and it's because of you. The people who live, work, learn, and play, and they proudly call Renton your home. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.